Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, who was an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites. The Lord was with Joseph, and he became a favored servant, living in the house of his Egyptian master. His master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did prosper in his hands. Joseph found grace in his master's sight, and he was made overseer in his house. And all that his master had he put in Joseph's hands. The Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake, and the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. So Potiphar left all that he had to Joseph's hands, and he did not even know what he owned, except the bread he ate. Now Joseph was a handsome young lad, and when he grew up, his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph and loved him. But he would not love her, and said to her, "Behold, my master does not even know what is in his house. He entrusted all that he has to my hand. There is none greater in his house than I. Neither has he kept back anything from him but you, because you are his wife. How then could I love you, and do this great wickedness, and sin against God?" Then she went to Joseph's master and told lies about Joseph, saying, "The Hebrew servant whom you have brought to us came into the house to mock me, and he fled as I lifted my voice and cried." When the master heard the words of his wife, he was very angry, and he took Joseph and put him in prison, where the king's prisoners were kept, and there he stayed. But the Lord was with Joseph, and showed him mercy, and made the keeper of the prison think well of him. So the keeper of the prison put all the prisoners that were in the prison into Joseph's hands, and whatsoever they did there, he was in charge of them. The keeper of the prison paid attention to anything that Joseph did, because the Lord was with Joseph, and whatever he did, the Lord made it prosper. The butler's dream. Some time later, it happened that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker offended their lord Pharaoh. The king of Egypt, in his anger, Pharaoh put them into the house of the captain of the guard, into the prison where Joseph was held. The captain of the guard turned them over to Joseph and looked after them. They stayed for some time. Now one night, both the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt dreamed a dream, each of them a different dream. When Joseph came in to them in the morning and looked upon them, he saw that they were sad. He said to the men, "Why do you look so sad today?" "We have dreamed a dream," they said to him, "and there is no one to interpret it for us." "Interpretations come from God," Joseph said to them. "Tell me your dreams." So the chief butler told his dream to Joseph. "In my dream," he said, "a vine was before me, and on the vine were 3 branches. It seemed as though it budded, and the blossoms shot forth, and the clusters grew into ripe grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, so I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I placed the cup into the hand of Pharaoh." Joseph said to him, "This is the interpretation of your dream. The 3 branches are 3 days. Within the 3 days, Pharaoh will lift your head, he will restore you to your place, and you will place Pharaoh's cup into his hand, as you used to do when you were his butler. Only think of me, and it shall be well with you, and be kind to me, I beg of you, and mention me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this place. For indeed I was stolen away from the land of the Hebrews, and I have done nothing here to deserve this dungeon." The baker's dream. When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said to Joseph, "I also had a dream, and behold, I had 3 baskets of white bread on my head, In the uppermost basket there were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, and the birds ate them out of the basket upon my head." Joseph answered him and said, "This is the interpretation of your dream. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days Pharaoh will call you and hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh." On the 3rd day, which was his birthday, Pharaoh made a feast for all the servants. He called for the butler and the chief baker among his servants. Then he returned the chief butler to the butlership again, and the butler gave the cup to Pharaoh. But Pharaoh hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had said. Yet the chief butler did not remember Joseph, but forgot him.